all passengers should not board through gate D25.
Here, Benjamin has come out with a new compressor. Can you tell us about how this is how this works?
When it comes to PCP, one of the biggest barriers into that market is your filling solution. It's not cheap. Whether even a hand pump is going to run you $100 to $150, depending on where you go. A tank, a couple $100 to over $800, depending on how big the tank you get. And then you got to worry about filling those tanks up to fill up your guns. So there's always levels of barriers that's going to deter people from not going to the PCP route, but going to the brake barrels and stuff. So we understand that issue, and we're trying and actively looking for something that's going to be cost effective for the user. What we found was this Benjamin Traveler that we came up with. It can run off both AC and DC power. The compressor is designed off a 12-volt DC. The converter will take 110 volt and convert it down to 12 volt DC. But the unique thing about it, because it runs off DC, is that it can run off your car battery. If you go out into the woods with it, you can take it with you in your ATV, run off your ATV battery, continue to shoot that way. I even joked about using my riding lawnmower. People ask, why are you going to use a riding lawnmower? Well, where I live in my house, I have my shooting bench right in front of where I park my riding lawnmower. So I decided to test it out, and it works. Right. So anything that's 12 volt that has an engine, you can run it off that. It's recommended to run it while starting, but theoretically you don't have to. It all depends on how good your battery is at the time. It has some protections built into it. It has a voltage protection. So if your battery drains down below a certain voltage, this will alarm and shut off, and then you have to either start your vehicle and then continue on filling up. But depending on what you're filling up, it's literally a matter of minutes. For example, a Marauder is 0 to 3,000 psi, 215 cc's. It'll fill that up in 8 minutes. And then, but your working pressure is really 2 to 3,000 psi. That's where you're typically shooting at. So a top off is literally 3 minutes. And some of your smaller air guns, like your Discovery Maximus, at least 3.5 minutes to fill up from 0. You're only talking about 1.5 minutes of startup or from your fill top offs.
Okay. This is a converter.
Yeah.
So you don't need this in the field.
Nope. So you're basically going to have your plug-in option. So right now this is not plugged in and can be left at home. And then you have your clamp option that's plugged in. Right now this one's set up to be ran off a battery and go from there.
Thinking about the noise level.
Yeah. So it's a little quieter than your shop compressor at home. So you don't have that big motor that's running it, but there is a little bit. There is that motor that's running it. So you have you have some of the noise coming from the fans, and the fans are what keeps it cool. And then you have, once you actually start it and it compresses, it's a little bit quieter. I can't give you an exact decibel, but it's pretty good. But other than that, it's very friendly. You don't need hearing protection or anything like that when running it.
The whip here that comes with it.
Yes.
It's the male or female Foster.
Yes.
And this comes with the unit.
Everything you see here is what's gonna come with it. Okay. We are in the works of changing it up a little bit just to make it more consumer friendly, to where they don't have to put all this stuff together, but it's all gonna be all enclosed, already attached. So all they have to do is plug and play. So
is there a meter on or a gauge on here that you could? In other words, can you set it to shut off at 3,000 or?
This compressor is mainly designed for gun fill solutions, 600 cc's or less. So being that the fact that you're only going to fill it up for a few minutes at a time, it doesn't have that feature, but it's basically start and stop to go from that. You do have
let me stop.
Yeah.
So you plug it in and you go to 3,000? or
Yeah, well, it goes up to 0 to 4,500. So you stop wherever your gauge on your gun,
You look at
or
the gun.
yep. So this also will come with a gauge as well, and you can stop at the gauge from there. But we always recommend by going by the gauge on the gun.
Sure. So you're not going to walk away from this and have lunch.
It's not. Yeah, it's not designed for that. Your bigger compressors that are like $1,300 or more, those are designed to fill huge tanks, and they take over an hour or so to fill up those tanks. So those are designed to walk away, come back, and they have the auto shut off with those things on it. But like I said, some of the stuff literally takes a minute and a half just to top off, and you're back to shooting in the range.
The big issue that a lot of air gunners with PCPs are concerned about is moisture. Mm-hmm. Is there some mechanism here?
Well, we have a built-in inline oil water separator, so any kind of moisture, dirt, debris, whatever, it gets caught up in the filter that's inside here. It will come with some extra ones, but you really don't run it that long to build up, so those last pretty a long time, so you'll have enough supply of those for a while.
Okay, so the filter's in here, it's a dissectant kind of a filter?
It's more of like a real thick cotton like cylinder.
Okay, so that will absorb moisture,
yeah,
as well as debris.
Yeah.
And you just change it out on your.
Yep.
Okay. All right, what's this going to retail for?
Believe it or not, $650. So it's one of the cheapest filling solutions that I know that's out there. Some of your lower end ones are going to be around the $899 plus range. So,
well, it's very purpose driven. I can tell, and like you say, you have a 4-wheeler. It's easy to throw this on there, take it out with you. You're not going to be filling big tanks, but it's not designed for that. And for $650, it's reasonable. All right, Philip, you've done a very good job.
All right, it's a pleasure.